So we didn't start franchising until I didn't start thinking about franchising until we had 10 locations, and it wasn't until our 14th location that we actually launched as a franchise. And part of that was I wanted to make sure that all these processes, all of these third-party softwares, all of the things that kind of made it able for me to run my business from my cell phone was something that was scalable enough to be done at a national level. I really feel as though there's a gap in the space right now that can be filled by our model. And I really do feel like our model is what's going to be left behind once electric vehicles penetrate in a more meaningful way. And so we're opening 3 corporate stores in the next 4 months, and we're beginning construction on several franchisees in the next 2 to 3 months, and we have 1 franchise open in Mesa, Arizona. So as an emerging brand, we're very happy with where we are right now. We've sold 100 territories in the past 14 months, making us one of the top emerging brands in the entire country. And I think our model just resonates with people, and that's why we've had such success with selling these units, because I think the consumer really does believe in the oil change only market. Selling people their time back is kind of our ethos, and that's anybody that can reduce friction between the consumer and the end service or product is going to win. And so I think that we can fill that space and kind of become that top of mind oil change brand, especially when the other brands are kind of moving towards an all of the above type approach. So I don't need to talk to any more about our background. If you guys have any specific questions about the history of the company or anything else, we certainly can answer questions about that. We do have a discovery day at the 3rd Thursday of every month. So in terms of like the secret sauce type stuff, we want to keep our questions to as macro as possible, because we do get into the nitty gritty at our discovery day, which everyone on this call is welcome to join us. But I'll let Michael curate the questions.
Yeah, thanks, Costa. And with regards to the Discovery Day, if any of you would like the agenda, please just shoot me an email or let me know now, and I'll send that over to you. It's the 15th and the 16th of this month, and it's in Hanover, Pennsylvania. We fly into Baltimore, and I probably had some conversations with you possibly on this call already. Why don't we move across this my screen, and at least then each of you can get a question in, and then we'll move back again. Costa, what time do you need to finish today?
As soon as possible today. Obviously, with the holiday weekend, my work's backed up, so okay. I can definitely stay till 11.
All right, super. Raj, why don't you go ahead if you have a question for Costa?
Hey, good morning. Actually, I do not have any questions. I just kind of wanted to listen in and get a feel for other participants and their questions.
Okay. All right, Josh. Thanks, Raj. Josh, you're up next. Do you have a question?
Yeah, and this may be a little too micro, as you said, but so we're approaching hurricane season here in Louisiana, which is where I'm at, and I read through the FDD. I didn't see anything about the ratings of these buildings. I mean, I realize they're kind of prefab, pre-assembled, but I assume you guys have hurricane tornadoes up there. But I mean, we just 2 years ago we had Hurricane Laura down here that really did a number on the area. So are these buildings rated for storms of that nature?
Yeah, that's a great question, Josh. So when we first started going through this process and I was designing the building, when we teamed up with our national architect, I wanted to make sure that this was as rubber stampable as possible. My personal opinion of franchising is it's truly paint by numbers. So if we can control as many variables as possible, we can kind of eliminate some of the local municipality headaches. So when we designed the building, we did it with a wind load as if it were Chicago, a rain load as if it were Seattle, a snow load as if it were Maine. And so we tried to check off as many boxes as possible. So when it came time to submitting preliminary site plans to local jurisdictions, that the changes would be so minimal that we could just move things forward as quickly as possible. So we definitely have there are going to be changes in your neck of the woods, especially, you know, the Florida area with the way that they view quick lube basements, and things like that. So those will be determined by a local civil engineer, but the buildings have to meet, you know, spec in order to get approved in the first place. So there's no way around it. As you said, the building is prefabricated. The building itself, there's SIPS panels, which is structurally insulated panels, and that themselves is no different than many other types of stick builds. It's just a certain material that gets assembled together. But the basement might be modified based on the panhandle area. And we'll be finding that out relatively soon, because we have several franchisees in Panama City. And
yeah, it's all that. Yeah, it's a little. You start digging down, it gets a little wet around here.
yeah.
Great. So Will, do you have a question for Costa? He may be on mute. Oh, he is on mute still.
Hang on, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I had my phone muted and the screen muted. I double muted myself. I'm loud. No, what I'm saying, I just wanted to say thanks for the time. But as going forwards, what do you see as one of the biggest hurdles for a new franchisee coming into this that we should be on the lookout for?
The biggest hurdle for basically every business except for producers right now is supply chain, and I would say secondly is real estate. The site selection process, a lot of it is determined by the participation of the franchisee. You know, much like every single franchise model, we do put the onus of site selection on the franchisee for liability purposes. So I think the only one that really gets away with it that's well known is McDonald's says, okay, you're going to be here and you have to like it. But they're McDonald's, so they can have that. They can say that. So, so we do provide tools for our franchisees to do site selection between GeoStrategies, which you might have already used with Michael, and our master broker, Morrow Hill, which is one of the premier brokerage firms for tenant side leasing in the franchise space. They have done a really good job of locating parcels that are meeting what we're trying to achieve. And then it comes down to the franchisee vetting it, making sure it's something they're comfortable with, not getting into a status of analysis paralysis where they're overthinking it a little too much. And so, you know, we see that as an ongoing challenge. And like I was telling Josh, we've tried to mitigate as many of those problems as possible on the permitting side, and we thus far have not had any issues on the permitting side. We've been approved in several different locations to begin construction already. And so that's been a bright spot for us, but the actual site selection can be difficult, especially with this hot real estate market, with some of these landlords kind of having FOMO, thinking that their next phone call is going to be from a Chick-fil-A or a Starbucks, you know, paying $100,000 a year ground lease. So our building is so small, we try to take the position where, you know, it's not a either or situation, it's an and situation. We're not going to be stopping you from putting in a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A. On the supply chain side, you know, oil is very hot right now. It's a geopolitically affected commodity, and it's obviously our biggest COG, cost of goods and service. And so our prices do go up as the price of oil goes up, because blending lubricants is a very it's a much more intricate process than, say, kerosene or diesel. So motor oil does get disproportionately affected by the price of oil going up quickly. We're positioned pretty well to not lose any margin, because we've always taken the position that the quick lube consumer does not care about brand. And so we've never been in bed with a brand that has a huge marketing spend that gets embedded in the cost of your oil. And so that has helped us. especially while, you guys can do some independent research, call your local Take 5, your Valvoline Instant Oil Change and Jiffy Lube and see what their full synthetic price is at. In every single market that we're in, they're already at $99.99 for a full synthetic oil change in 5 quarts and a spin-on filter, which is the industry standard. And we're still at $79.95. We haven't made the move to change it yet. We've been dealing with a lot of angry customers because everybody's life is more expensive today. So just I would say those are the two challenges.
Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Costa. Brijesh, do you have a question for Costa this morning? We'll wait for you to.
Hey, Mike. No, thank you for all the deals.
Okay, well, good. I've either done a better than expected job.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So Costa,
You got Raj.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thoughts?
Raj hasn't asked any questions yet. Well, there he is.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, no questions for me.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a Tuesday after holiday weekend. Everyone's still just, this is early in the morning where no one wants to go back to work. And so.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. We pulled the call off. Thank you for joining us. And I think we have the candidates I'm working with, we have additional calls, and potentially some of you will be at the Discovery Day either here in June or July. So we can talk more about that. Costa, thanks for joining us, and congrats on the success that you've had so far.
Thanks, Michael. I'll be talking to you at 3 Eastern?
Yes, I'll chat with you later today.
Okay.
Great. Thank you all for making the
Thank
call.
you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Costa.
Bye.